Welcome to Nugget 122 with Steve Groman, and today we are going to talk about Lassen Volcanic National Park and Bumpus Hell, which we talked about an article that discussed Bumpus Hell in Nugget 121.
Yes, it's a beautiful place, is it not?
It's spectacular. Tucked away in Northern California near the quiet town of Mineral and also along the Volcanic Legacy All-American Road, Lassen Volcanic National Park is a place of pristine mountain lakes, snow-capped peaks, all four kinds of volcanoes, shield, plug dome, cinder cone, and composite, bubbling mud pots, walk-through lava tubes, hot springs, painted dunes, steam vents, and smoking fumaroles.
It's got it all.
Yes, it does. The Volcanic Legacy Scenic Byway terminates at this park, with the northern terminus at Crater Lake in Oregon.
Beautiful.
And if you haven't been to Crater Lake, that is a must-see for
Beautiful
sure.
place.
Established in 1916, the 106,000-acre park is at the crossroads of four great geologic and biologic provinces: the Cascade Range, the Sierra Nevada, California's Central Valley, and the Great Basin. And now we're going to show you and tell you a little bit about Lassen. The interesting thing about this park and places like Crater Lake, you have to realize they have a very short season, as this statement is that the Lassen Volcanic National Park main road can open as early as May 10th and as late as mid-July, depending on how much snow falls during the winter. That is true. When you plan to go to Yellowstone or these different parks, they are open in the winter, but you have to get in by snowmobile or cross-country skiing, those types of ways. But just driving is...
I've had to use four-wheel drive many times in these kind of places.
We've gotten stuck in the snow in Crater Lake and got to be a bit hairy.
The first time we saw ice on the rearview mirror temperature gauge was like, that's interesting, is it not?
It wasn't.
And fortunately, we had good tires.
On the evening of May 14th, 1915, incandescent blocks of lava could be seen bouncing down the flanks of Lassen Peak from as far away as the town of Manton, 20 miles to the west. And that is the pinnacle of this park, Lassen Peak. And typically, as we were talking about the weather, the park receives 400 to 500 inches in a snow season. That's November through April. That's a lot of snow.
That's a lot of snow.
This is measured at the southwest entrance of the park at an elevation of 6,700 feet. There have been years when the park received over 700 inches a snow season. But we want to focus on a couple of things, and mainly the geologic features, and we want to talk about this night to remember.
Yeah, this is dated from 1915, May 19th. You are standing in the aftermath of the volcanic destruction, which, by the way, let me say this. You're standing in the actual areas where all the devastation took place, so it is neat how they've done it, known as the devastated area. Late on the evening of May 19th, 1915, a large steam explosion shattered the lava that filled Lassen's Peak crater during the previous 5 days. Glowing blocks of hot lava fell on the summit and snow-covered upper flanks of the volcano. The impact touched off an avalanche of snow and lava rock a half-mile wide. It roared down the volcano's flank in front of you and continued up over Immigrant Pass behind you into Hat Creek Valley, which is an interesting thing, the whole way they say this, because that is what happens. It is amazing, but it's just one volcano. The amazing amount of devastation, the amazing amount of energy that it displayed is just incredible when you think about it. When the Bible says same day all, you can really imagine it. After standing at some of these places and understanding what happened, just imagine everywhere this stuff is going on.
And they're memorializing this one event that happened 105 years ago.
Right.
What about the event that happened 4,400 years ago when all
same day all
of that was going on?
Amazing. As the lava blocks broke into fragments, the snow melted, creating a mud flow of volcanic debris and lair. Though with less force, the torrent rushed down the path of the avalanche and was deflected by Immigrant Pass into Lost Creek, sweeping through the homesteads.
And this is an interesting account that's on that sign, and it's talking about this man, Elmer Sorahan. In the night, his dog barked, raved, and stuck his paws against him to wake him up. Elmer thought it might be a bear or a panther, so he got up. He peeped out to see what the dog was barking at. He saw the mud flow coming like a wave about 12 feet high. Can you imagine?
Imagine waking up. Animals have that sense, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sure he could maybe hear it, because they can hear better than us. Maybe he could hear or feel the rumbles.
Something was happening.
He knew it wasn't his master snoring. One of the places just right on the road is the Sulphur Works. The short boardwalk winds past steam holes, which are fumaroles, mud pots, and boiling springs, and the rotten egg smell permeates the air, affirming the presence of hydrogen sulfide gas, a forerunner in the formation of sulfur. Below you, deep within the earth, a network of pockets of partially molten rock forms the active Lassen magmatic system. Heat generated from the magma warms groundwater to a boil. The water bubbles and steams upward through cracks and appears at Sulphur Works and other hydrothermal areas found in the park. And at this particular spot, they've just given up on the boardwalk because it just keeps caving in, and they just have made a viewpoint now.
Yeah, speaking of the rotten egg smell, we should kind of tell a little story about me.
Okay.
Back many years ago, you wanted to go to Yellowstone? Many years ago. 25 plus years ago. Wanted to go to Yellowstone. I said, no, it all looks the same and it stinks. Well, now we've been back probably, I don't know.
I think we've been there 7 times.
7, 8 times. Something.
And I really can't wait to go back.
It is nice.
There's
I've
nothing
greatly
better.
learned to appreciate it. So if you're out there and you think, I don't know about all that stuff, just do it. Just give it a try.
Get out. Don't miss a single one.
Right. You're going to be amazed at some of the stuff you see, and it is fascinating when you get right down to it.
Feel that warm mist.
Warm, damp,
and
moist,
smell that sulfur smell.
stinky air. Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
And here are a few
and we've done some crazy things out there.
Smoking areas, a few of the hot spots that they have in the park in the different regions. They have Bumpass Hell, Devil's Kitchen, Boiling Springs Lake, and Terminal Geyser. 4 spectacular places to go check out.
The most extensive and famous hydrothermal area in the park is Bumpass Hell, a 16-acre bowl filled with mud pots, fumaroles, and boiling pools. The hike is 3 miles round trip. Elevation change is minimal. Be advised that most years the trail is not accessible until early July due to snow and ice coverage, because these places do get an enormous amount of snow.
Now, this is one of the places that the guy was talking about where he is going to find where life began. Was it this Bumpass Hell?
In our last nugget.
And he did mention how KV Bumpass did lose his leg, and the account here on the sign says, our guide, Mr. KV Bumpass, after cautioning us to be careful where we stepped, that the surface was treacherous, suddenly concluded with Virgil that the descent to hell was easy. For stepping upon a slight inequality in the ground, he broke through the crust and plunged his leg into the boiling mud beneath, which clinging to his limb burns him severely. If our guide had been a profane man, I think he would have cursed a little. As it was, I think his silence was owing to his inability to do the subject justice.
It's amazing because sometimes we go to these places and there are bones of animals in these holes. Just the bones are left.
They're saying that where he stepped, the boiling pool, was probably 240 degrees.
That's
sad. And here's some
sad.
pictures of this gorgeous 16-mile bowl. Listen to this. Big Boiler is the hottest fumarole within a non-erupting volcano in the world. The steam temperatures measured here reach as high as 322 degrees Fahrenheit. That's mighty hot. But for the perspective, flowing lava can reach 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And then they say that the core of the Earth weighs in at a mere 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which we know that they can't know that, because how deep is the deepest hole they've ever drilled?
Only 8 miles, a little less than 8 miles, deepest hole ever drilled.
So this core information is not science.
But it is true that these things are hot, because when you walk by them, you definitely feel it.
You can test lava flow, and you can test the big boiler, but you can't test the core. You can only surmise it.
And they have no idea what is really down there.
But the colors are amazing. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Definitely worth a journey. Must see. If you're going to take a vacation, we could help you plan that out. There's some beautiful stuff in this country.
And after we did the trip through this, we found this one sign, Mud Pot Metamorphosis. A mud pot is the intermediate phase between a fumarole, which is a steam vent, and a boiling spring. It has less water than a boiling spring, but more than a fumarole. In wet years, a mud pot can become saturated, allowing the sediment to thin and settle, forming a boiling spring. Whereas during drier years, a mud pot can dry up, harden, and emit steam as a fumarole.
And they're really amazing, aren't they?
They're cute almost. I always think they're cute.
They sit there like they got their own personality. All of a sudden, here comes a blob of mud straight up at you.
It's really awesome.
It is really awesome.
And colorful.
Pictures don't do it justice. You get an idea, but they just don't do it justice.
And then after we did that hike later in that evening, we went to Cold Boiling Lake.
Yeah, so just like the name implies, a portion of the cold water lake appears to be boiling. This is caused by carbon dioxide gases escaping from the surface through the water, giving it an appearance of boiling. And that is an amazing thing, too, when you see the water, and it just does that. It bubbles. Looks like it's boiling.
But it's the carbon dioxide.
Yeah, and you can hear it actually crackling, just like you would expect like you hear on the top of a glass full of Coca-Cola or something.
Fizzing.
The fizzy, bubbly sound. It's really cool when you see it on a big body of water.
It was just a great way to end the day at Lassen.
It's just beautiful stuff.
All right. Well, we wanted to show you about this from a creationist perspective. And we have talked about boiling pots and these type of formations in Nugget 72 and 73. If you want to see more pictures and more information on this kind of formation into Hot Creek in Eastern California, again in Nugget 72 and 73. These are not where life began.
No, not at all where life began.
It's not going to ever help an evolutionary scientist determine how life began.
But it certainly gives us evidence for what the Bible says. Written thousands of years ago, the fountains of the deep have broken up, and there's some hot stuff coming up.
And you know what? NASA is never going to find life
in
an icy pool on
another moon.
Because they got a few gloops from a hot boiling pot
here on this earth that's designed to be inhabited.
Right. What you can find there is a fabulous vacation.
Correct. Do it.
All right. Well, thank you.